Hello, everybody. Hello, guys. So, as you can see, I know this is shocking, but I'm actually doing a live stream at a reasonable time in the day instead of at the middle of the night. I have planned. I have oftentimes thought it would be a good idea to start doing live streams live streams every day, Mondays through Fridays, and every day at the same time. But I'm not sure that's going to happen anytime soon since I've shown that I'm not very good at that. But that's something I would like to accomplish one day. And I think around this time, like 8 would be a good time for it. But I don't know. Maybe you could let me know in the comments section whether you think this is a good time, because if another time would work better for you guys, I can just do my live streams at that time instead. So make sure to let me know. Well, moving on. So there's a lot of stuff or at least a few different things I wanted to talk about today. But as you know, I sometimes watch Michael Knowles' channel, even though I don't like Daily Wire. And I watched this one video that I thought was somewhat worth talking about to a certain extent. So I wanted to give it a quick discussion.
So if the only reason you don't want to date someone boils down to the fact that they're trans, that's transphobia right there. Let's go over a couple of situations. So if you don't want to date a trans woman because you want kids, well, you better be keeping that same attitude with cis women who are infertile, or that's transphobia. If you don't want to date a trans woman because you're not attracted to trans women, I would absolutely love to know how you're able to identify correctly who is a trans woman on site 100% of the time, because that is just impressive. I wish I had that ability. I'd love to be able to have even more trans solidarity. And then also just being super straight is the all lives matter of sexualities. It's not a real sexuality. It literally is just something that's made up to make fun of trans people and to hate on trans people. So, yes, super straights, I don't respect you and I don't respect that sexuality. Bye.
If I found out today that these videos are not being produced in America, they're not being produced by just random people, that these are all being filmed in Beijing in Xi Jinping's propaganda studio to disseminate throughout the West and destroy our civilization, I would be about 7% surprised. No, 3% surprised. This is really, really bad.
Yeah, so what do I think of this take? Well, I think this sort of neocon idea of just blaming everything on China is quite ridiculous. Like, it's obviously just an scapegoat for problems to ignore the real enemy. And quite frankly, I think Xi Jinping is doing a better job of running China than the American government is running America. Not to say I'm a commie, I denounce communism, but Xi Jinping is generally better than Joe Biden and Donald Trump and Barack Obama, people like that. But I think Michael Knowles does have a slight point in the sense that there is definitely, so when I recently watched a TikTok about white privilege and how white privilege is real and all white people have it. Let me tell you something. If it turned out that video was not made by like normal people, but it was made in Israel by paid actors in George Soros's and Netanyahu's private theater room, their propaganda unit, I would be 3% surprised. I would be 2% surprised. I would only be 1% surprised, because they're obviously trying it is those kinds of people that push things like white privilege and white guilt on white people, and they are doing it to hurt the white race and make the white race weak. But in other news, I've oftentimes railed against the West in my show before, and it truly does feel like it's just awful thing after awful thing. Just recently, Hershey's came up with a new ad for International Women's Day, and it included a transvestite. The Hershey's included a diverse cast, and they've got a transvestite. And so we all sort of make these jokes like the ABCDE community. And the first time I heard that joke, I thought it was really stupid. I read it in like the comment section of a video, and I thought, wow, what a dumb joke. This is such a cringe joke. But they're literally doing it. I used to sort of think that joke was like stupid and in bad taste a long time ago, but it's literally like real life right now. So yeah, these companies keep pushing all these different things like homosexuality, transsexuals, race mixing, pornography, masturbation, being a slut, feminism. And why are they pushing on it? Because these companies are owned and ran by social Marxist globalists. And they're doing it because they know a lot of these products are consumed by white people. And if white people believe in this stuff like feminism, or white people support stuff, or worst off engage in stuff like homosexuality, then that will make white people degenerate and hurt the white race. Social Marxists and globalists hate white people. They want us dead. And that's why they're doing this stuff to hurt us. Right now in Britain, homelessness is totally out of control. According to figures released from the Department of Leveling Up, Housing and Communities, which recorded a snapshot from a single night in the autumn of last year, there were 3,069 people sleeping rough on the streets last year compared to 2,443 in 2021, representing a 25.6% increase. So despite the previously mentioned social Marxist globalists flooding Britain with foreigners, the overwhelming majority of these homeless people, 60%, were British born. And that's simply because these welfare systems aren't good for white people, or at least the ones that exist right now. I think in a good quality country, we could have welfare systems by white people for white people. But the welfare systems of the modern day West aren't made to help white people. They're made to hurt white people. They aren't helping white people. The only ones they're helping are these foreigners whose ancestors didn't even participate in the construction of the countries they're leeching off of. Those British people that are sleeping on the street, they likely had ancestors that benefited England, who spent their whole life working up a chimney or down a mine, helping the British economy and helping the British Empire expand to become what was the biggest empire in all of human history. But yet, those same people's descendants are sleeping on the streets, while people who at best didn't do anything to help Britain, and at worst were fighting wars against the Britain and participating in revolutions or protests against the British Empire, are now being waited on hand and foot by these social services from the British government. No one wants them there. No one wants them in Britain. No one wants them in America. No one wants them in the West. But they're always there. In Italy, they're electing women to... They elected a woman, as bad enough that is, to get them out of here. And none of England or our country's parties, mainstream parties, are probably are saying anything about it. In England, the party, and not even Tories, are doing anything to fight against this degeneracy. It's awful. It's terrible. But nothing's being done to stop it. And all the money that could be helped to us is given to our enemies, like Ukraine. These terrible, awful countries. I hate it. I pray every night for the death of America. When you look at these foreign countries like Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping, the Saudi royal family, the Taliban, they're doing so much better jobs of ruling their people than the Western leaders. Both the conservative Western leaders and the liberal Western leaders are failing the white race. They're failing the Western hemisphere. They're failing their own countries. They're failing their ancestors who fought off bears and lions to make sure that their genetics would spread to another generation, only to have some ancestor sterilize themselves to make sure that no woman has to be forced to give birth in our anti-abortion patriarchy, or sterilize themselves because white people are evil and need to be exterminated because they watch the social Marxist globalist TV, and that's what they say. It's sick. It's disgusting. But it's what's happening. Why does anyone give a single dime to Hershey's? Why? It's stuff like this that makes me so sure of my belief. Capitalism, democracy, and republics are all evil and need to be wiped off the face of the earth as soon as possible. If things were right and proper, America would either be a Christian theocracy or America would be an authoritarian, totalitarian dictatorship, an autocracy. One of the two. I don't know. Maybe monarchy could work, but the system we have right now is so bad. Quite frankly, I would rather have a Muslim theocracy. Or if depending on what kind of country, a communist country. If it was a communist country like that of Stalin or Kim Jong-un or Xi Jinping, we'd be better off. I'm not a communist, but those people fought for their race. They fought for their country. They fought for their borders. They fought for their ancestors. They fought for their last names. These white liberals and a lot of white, some white conservatives, they're not fighting for that. They're fighting for the destruction of their race. They're fighting for the destruction of their countries. They're fighting for the destruction of their borders. They're fighting for the destruction of their ancestors, or at least the smearing and humiliation of their ancestors. They're fighting for the destruction of their last names. All these white men fighting for, and colored men fighting for the destruction of their gender, because men are evil oppressors. The public school system teaches white people and men that they're evil oppressors every day. The public school system, these goddamn teachers, I hate them. What are we going to do with them? I don't know. History truly has been that for the last 60 years, liberals and conservatives have been taking turns destroying our country and destroying our race. They've been, for the last 60 years, liberals and conservatives have taken turns destroying my country and destroying my race. What can I say? It's like that Putin speech. These Westerners are want to start giving God gender neutral programs, gender neutral pronouns. What can I say? We have fallen so hard. Just think about how great things were before the Great Enlightenment. Back then, people cared about their race. People cared about God. And the people that liberals and a lot of conservatives are calling our enemies, the Chinese, the North Koreans, the Russians, these terrorists in the Middle East, like the Taliban and ISIS, they still care about that. They still keep up tradition. They still keep up virtue. I feel like in my day-to-day life, when I'm going to school and I'm with my family, there's a smile on my face, but inside I'm screaming. We're in war for our culture. It's a war we need to fight. I'm fighting in war for our culture. I remember watching a video about, it was one of these cucked liberal videos. It was, video games are radicalizing children in England to become Nazis. And it talked about like these teenagers that identified as Nazis, or they called them Nazis. I'm not sure whether they really were Nazis or what. But I read this comment, and it's sad to think that the descendant of someone who died fighting Nazis or killed Nazis would become a Nazi. Do you know what's really sad? Do you know what's actually legitimately sad? That the descendant of someone who fought for the right white race, who fought in race wars like the Zulu War, now has a descendant who's a race traitor. That's what's really sad. That's what's destroying the white race. That's what's destroying our people. Well, I guess today's live stream was more of a rant, but there were just some things that were really making me angry. I don't know. Nothing's beautiful anymore. You don't have families. We have men fucking other men and women with body counts in the triple digits. We don't have real art anymore. We have modern art. We have modern architecture instead of real architecture. We don't have beautiful women. We have obese women with blue hair and facial piercings. Everything's gone. But we will bring it back. We are going to bring it back. And that's something we have to fight for every day and every second of our lives. Campus conservatives, signing off for today.